This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
You're joking.
Well, let's get back to it.
Right, here's some texts and tweets and emails and such from last night. By the way, if you're confused about what's going on in the economy, then I have a little, what would you call it? A sort of, a little explainer about gilts. You know about gilts? Oh, leave it to me and I'll put you straight. These are texts and tweets and such from last night. James texts, she didn't say why she sacked Kwarteng. Are you kidding me? She was very, very clear about that.
I'm genuinely unclear.
Josh says, I wonder if Kwarteng was fired determinately, decisively, or clearly. Robustly, I think you'll find. Amelia tweets, Tories are making sure that they have material for this show. I couldn't stop laughing today, she says, watching the PM and the speech and the press conference, thinking that Nick is already writing for the evening. Amelia, are you kidding me? This stuff writes itself. Pauline says, who is the person that pulls the string on the Trust doll to repeat the same phrases over and over? It drives me up the wall. The battery needs taking out. She needs to get turned off and on again. You know, like one of those robot Christmas toys.
That is a disgrace.
Alan texts, as Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is madness. Therefore, Labour, when elected, must bring in proportional representation and change the tax system to a financial transaction tax and pay a universal basic income. Yeah, well, that would be very nice, but Keir Starmer has other things on his mind, mostly how to style his hair.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
You just don't. James says, if Truss resigns, does that mean that Kofi takes over?
Oh,
no. Yeah, Therese Coffin, Prime Minister. Well, it wouldn't be the silliest thing I've heard this week. But this is... Hang on a minute. I have detailed files. Can you believe it? Patients will be able to obtain antibiotics from pharmacies without seeing a doctor under new plans to kill us all by Therese Coffin, the new Health Secretary. Therese Coffin, the actual Health Secretary, has pushed to make antibiotics more freely available. Maybe you've noticed these signs up in your GP and your chemist saying, please don't ask for antibiotics for everything, because the human race is becoming resistant to them, and that way leads to the death of all mankind. But Dr. Coffin knows better. She is a doctor, after all. Just checking what field of medicine Dr. Coffin is an expert in. And she's not a medical doctor at all. She's got a PhD in chemistry. But on the plus side, she used to be an accountant.
Oh, fabulous.
And she's styled the Right Honourable Dr. Therese Coffin on the Parliament website. So maybe the Blunder Trust thought that she was a real medical doctor. And that's why she got the job of a health secretary. Even though she's the least healthy person that regularly appears on your television screen. I mean, I suppose we should be grateful that we didn't get Dr. Beat. Or Doctor Who. Or Dr. Crippen. In related news, Dr. Coffin, the actual bloomin' health secretary, said that she had previously handed out her own supplies of antibiotics to friends and family who were feeling unwell.
What?
Okay, a couple of three things. First, she's wasted in the health department. She's at least stupid enough to be the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Does she know numbers?
So obviously
not like he does. No one knows numbers like he does.
And 1, 2,
3,
6 million.
No. Second, where does she get a supply of antibiotics from to dole out to her friends and family? I mean, you're supposed to complete the course. You're not supposed to have a stockpile left to dole out. And third, oh my God, she's the health secretary. We're all going to die. Therese Coffin, the actual bloomin' health secretary, is planning to allow pharmacists to prescribe antibiotics without the advice of a doctor to patients they believe are suffering from certain conditions. You know, they walk in and say, oh, please help me. I've lost my TV remote. I need antibiotics. Help me, doctor. I need your help. I get tired in the evening. I need antibiotics. You know, those people. The kind of people who will go 7 shades of furious screaming purple if the chemist doesn't give them what they want. It's my right. I can have what I want. Sources close to the actual bloomin' health secretary denied suggestions from sceptical officials that she thinks anyone should be able to get antibiotics, saying that such comments reflected initial questions from her early days in office. She's just testing the waters. I'll translate that for you. Sources close to the health secretary denied suggestions from sceptical officials that she thinks anyone should just be able to get antibiotics, saying that such comments reflected her total unsuitability for her new office. But don't worry, she'll be out on her ear the moment we have yet another Prime Minister we didn't get to vote for.
Correct.
Therese Coffin, the actual bloomin' health secretary, had to be convinced by Chris Whitty, a real doctor, the country's chief bloomin' medical officer, that the rise of antibiotic-resistant superbugs was a significant problem, as in a human species wipeout issue. I mean, even I know that you should ease off the antibiotics, and what I know about medicine you could write on the back of an aspirin. Some medical experts who are experts in medicine and not accounting said the menace of antimicrobial resistance is one of the gravest threats to modern medicine, and pushing for easier availability of antibiotics has, or was rather, and this is a technical medical term, pushing for easier availability of antibiotics was moronic, they said. They're not saying that you're a moron, though, Therese Coffin. It's just that they think what you say is moronic. There's a big difference. The overuse of antibiotics apparently speeds up the rate at which bacteria develop resistance to such medicines. And as the drugs stop working, common infections could once again kill, and treatments ranging from chemotherapy to hip replacements could become too risky to attempt. No more surgery. Everybody dies. But it will be a patriotic British death, and on the death certificate it will say died due to complications caused by a moron. Stephen Baker is a professor of molecular microbiology at Cambridge University. He said that the more that antibiotics were used, the more likely we are to get drug-resistant organisms. He said that it was nuts to talk about widening access to the drugs. He said, we don't need to worry about this when clearly it's one of the biggest problems humanity is facing in respect of infectious diseases at the moment. To say that we don't need to worry about it is, in his words, moronic. But, you know, Stephen Baker is a professor of molecular microbiology at Cambridge University and an actual expert, so no one is remotely interested in anything he has to say. And he's probably in the anti-growth coalition and a Ramona to boot. And in order to clear up any misunderstanding, a spokesmodel for the actual bloomin' health secretary, Therese Coffin, said, the Secretary of State was just trying to take the heat off the Prime Minister and the Chancellor of the Exchequer, whoever that is at the moment, by saying something so stupid that people will stop what they're doing and gawp at her in wonderment that she manages to find her way out from under her own duvet in the morning. I mean, at this point, you have to wonder, are they trying to kill us? 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC. Here's a suspiciously keen caller in Newham. Linda.
Hello.
Linda.
I had to call in. I've just turned the radio on and I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
It can't get any worse, can it?
Don't say that. They'll find a way.
They're destroying this country.
They're destroying
and they want to kill us all.
Yeah, they're destroying this country. I think that's a job done. They're now moving on to the rest of humankind.
And she's got the right name, hasn't she?
Coffin, yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Coffin. Can you believe it?
It's unbelievable. And unfortunately, there are people out there who just demand antibiotics. Yeah. It's dangerous.
I could do with a couple of pints of antibiotics myself at the moment.
Poor doctors and chemists.
And chemists, yeah.
I'm lost for words now.
Yeah. Well, at least chemists have whole rooms full of drugs to, take the edge off.
I might have to go and demand some of the way things are going.
Exactly right, yeah. I'll be in the queue right behind you. Thanks a lot, Linda. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Absolutely.
Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Texts and tweets and such from last night. Patrick texts, leave her alone. She's doing her best. It took a while. You've got to be really quick these days, because if you don't get in, leave him, her, or it alone, they're doing their best, then it could be too late because they might be gone. So as soon as the next one comes in, I want you to put that one in straight away. Greg says, I've seen a few people during my working life who may have had problems who are harshly described as unemployable and not being able to hold down a job. Do the last three chancellors fall into this category? I wonder if they're on benefits, because there's a lot of people who are in this country who are capable of work, who are just living a life on benefits. Ask Swellhead Braverman. SRG tweets, we are very fortunate to have such a talented government that includes so many individuals qualified to be Chancellor of the Exchequer. yeah, it's a clown show of talent. Let's have Devon, Bovey Tracy, if that is indeed a place. Hello, Ian.
Ian, yeah, Bovey Tracy.
Bovey Tracy, where's that then?
Sorry?
Where's Bovey Tracy? Never heard
Bovey
of it.
Tracy, we're about 10 miles from Exeter.
Well, it sounds a delight. Is it?
West of Exeter, we're actually in Dartmoor.
Okay, way too much information.
Just tell
me what it's like.
It's beautiful.
Ah.
Beautiful part of the world.
Beautiful part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to hear it. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm surprised. I haven't heard this come up yet, but there was an old episode of Yes, Prime Minister, where they had a new health secretary who was grossly overweight and a heavy smoker, and I cannot but think of Theresa Coffey. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the poor lady, I mean, bless her heart, but she is the last person you'd want as a health secretary.
Well, the last person I think of when I hear the word health.
Absolutely. But again, parody is truth. It's available on YouTube under New Minister of Health. Yes, Prime Minister.
I'll look it up later. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Ian.
Yeah, okay. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye.
I certainly will do nothing of the sort. 0345 6060 973. Keith texts, are we sure Miss Trust said that she wouldn't... Keith have you heard? Keith texts, are we sure Miss Trust said that she would hit the ground running, or was it that she would hit the pound and run? Wasn't worth it, was it really? Better luck next time, Keith. Sam says, with all that's gone on this year, I think you need to start the A to Z of 2022 now to get ahead. I could have started it in January. And Graham tweets, just got back from Norway. Went to see The Cure in Oslo.
Rock and roll!
What a scary, well-adjusted, clean, respectful, high-wage, high-tax place it is. It's awful to think that we could end up like that if we all paid our taxes and didn't chuck litter everywhere. Norwegian people. Always so perfect. 0345 6060 973. Yorkshire. Mike.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Great. Well, a couple of quick fire questions and a third one if I can.
Okay, it's a test. Go ahead.
Is Jeremy Hunt the only human or humane person in the Conservative Party?
What makes you think he's humane?
Well, let's get to the second question and then answer both, if you will, Nick. If he is the only human and humane person, and he's in a government picked by Truss, how can he possibly survive?
Well, he can survive because he's not humane. He's just like the rest of them. They're all the blooming same. Have you read his voting record?
Yeah, I have.
indistinguishable from any other Conservative MP. They all think as with one mind, like they're programmed as robots.
Affirmative.
Yeah, fair point with that, but his attitude is a little bit different.
Attitude? You mean his delivery? The way he delivers bad news is different from the trust bot and different from Bodger before her.
Yeah, and he doesn't say that his great heroes in life are Patrick Minford.
No, but yet they may well be. He just hasn't said it out loud.
That's true. He could be a little bit of a deceitful person. But don't you think that he's in a position now? I mean, he's obviously the boss. He's taken control. And I don't believe that she selected him for a minute. I think he's been put there by the Conservative grandees or the men in grey suits.
Those people.
And she's actually subordinate to him now.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't make any difference. They're all going in the same direction. Whether he's the captain or she's the captain, what difference does it make? Well, they're all on the same boat, and we're in a little dinghy being tugged behind them. We've got absolutely no control over where we're going because we have no say. We bought the ticket, we're paying for the petrol, but we've got no direction as to where, no input as to where we're actually going.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And you have actually defeated me on this one, as you usually do, Nick. But anyway, the last
I didn't realise it was a contest.
and just a little bit last one. There's been loads, including you, but other presenters have been saying, we hope Jeremy Hunt doesn't come to prominence because it makes us reading stuff. It gets rather difficult. Just imagine if his parents had christened him Isaac. Then you would really have a problem, Nick.
Thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Here's his voting record. Don't be seduced by his gorgeous good looks. Isn't he an absolute dream? They're all the bloomin' same. They all have the exact same voting record, whether they've been in the cabinet or not, whether they were in the cabinet when they were doing the voting. All that collective responsibility nonsense. That's just an excuse. Do me a favour. Generally voted for reducing the rate of corporation tax. He wanted it down to lower than the trust bot was going to put it. Of course, he generally voted against raising welfare benefits, at least in line with prices. So he wanted to reduce the rate the corporation tax is paid in order to enrich those that run corporations, and voted against raising the welfare benefits for the most needy in society. So keep that in mind. That really, I don't really need to read much further than that. That informs who it is that we're talking about. Almost always voted for making local councils responsible for helping those in financial need afford their council tax and reducing the amount spent on such support. Less money for the poor. They should have thought of that before they decided to become poor. Generally voted against spending public money to guaranteed jobs for young people who have spent a long time unemployed. To hell with those young people. Generally voted against paying higher benefits over longer periods for those unable to work due to illness or disability. To hell with those disabled people. Almost always voted for a reduction in spending on welfare benefits. Generally voted for reducing housing benefit for social tenants deemed to have excess bedrooms, in other words, the bedroom tax. Voted for the privatisation of Royal Mail. Of course he did. Voted against a public-owned railway system. Almost always voted against greater public control of bus services. Generally voted against a more proportional system for electing MPs, because that might spell democracy. We don't want that, do we? Voted against removing hereditary peers from the House of Lords. Ugh. Puh. And you know what his background is, don't you? Jeremy Hunt. Oh, my God. He's more aristocratic than Bodger Bloomin' Johnson. Ain't he, Bodge? Yes. Voted for raising England's undergraduate tuition cap to £9,000 a year. Consistently voted for ending financial support for 16 to 19-year-olds in training and further education. Voted for mass surveillance of people's communications and activities. He's looking at you. Think about that the next time you do something that you shouldn't oughta.
Disgusting.
Almost always voted for a stricter asylum system. Push 'em back out to sea. Let 'em drown. Almost always voted for reducing capital gains tax. Of course. How do the rich stay rich? Capital gains. You don't become a millionaire with wages. It's the appreciation of your assets. Generally voted against higher taxes on banks. Of course he did. Generally voted against a banker's bonus tax. Voted against increasing the tax rate applied to income over £150,000 and voted against laws to promote equality and human rights because who needs human rights? All that information, by the way, on a website called They Work For You, which is a handy resource. Anytime you think, I wonder what this politician is like, I am entranced by their dazzling eyes. I wonder what they're actually like. It's almost always the same. Almost always the bloomin' same. And I have detailed files on who he actually is and where he actually came from. Don't get seduced. Right, some texts and emails and such into the news. Well, maybe I should take this one here. I'll take this one here, and then we'll go to the news, and I'll come back with more texts and tweets and emails from last night, and some probably from tonight as well. I don't know how these people get my number. Oldbury, Ranjit.
Oh, yeah, you okay?
Have you been frying tonight?
I've been frying, been very slow tonight, mate. Very slow.
How much is a bag of chips?
A bag of chips starts at $2.30, which is a small cone.
$2.30?
$2.70. And £4.60 a bag of chips, large bag of chips, that would feed two. And I'm putting my fish up next week, a week Monday. It'll be over £10 now.
£10 for a fish?
No, it'll be £10 for fish and chips, £10.20.
£10.20 for fish and chips?
Yeah, it's got no choice, Nick. It's terrible, mate. It's ridiculous. And I'm even there, I'm making a loss on... If somebody has a fish for £7.50, I'm really making a loss, to be honest with you. When they buy some chips with it, we make a bit of a profit. If they have a peas or a curry sauce, then it, makes a bit of a profit.
Yeah.
What you got to do is look at the whole week taking, yeah, and then you might make some money. But if you start looking at individual items, you're going to have a hernia in your head. Literally, that's the only way I can say.
A hernia in your head.
In your head, yeah. It's ridiculous what's happening to this country now. And like that gentleman you had just earlier, he said, "Oh well, they put a nice person ahead," and then you quoted what his voting record is. Well, that was something was probably secret, or you can find out. But
no, you can't. It's not secret. It's on a website called They Work For You. It's out there in the open.
I've wrote it down, and I'm going to look it up tomorrow, or when I get a chance.
Yeah.
The thing is, look, parents, right, spend all their disposable income sometimes to educate their children. Yeah. So if you're going to become a doctor. He said, Jeremy, you know what? He's got a city surname, actually. The Chancellor, we just call it, in his previous job, yeah? He said, I want to slip up, yeah? He turned around and said that a junior doctor should work for £22,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right? Now, to become a doctor, you've got to have straight 3 A's or maybe 4 A's, get into a good medical school.
Well, you've got to be absolutely determined, and you've got to be determined to do really incredibly long hours for an incredibly long period of time. And then when you come out of it, then you get a small round of applause every other Thursday, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, right? And this idiot, right? And that's what I'm going to call Jeremy Hunt an idiot. Yeah, he might try to look himself trying to be smart and smooth talking, right? He's ridiculous, because when he was Health Secretary, he was saying that, and I think even this year he says, well, okay, I tell you what, a junior doctor's going to be okay to work for £25,000 a year. Now, the minimum wage, if you base it on a 39-hour week, is nearly £19,000, Nick. So where would the incentive come right, for someone to go to university.
It's a calling. That we rely on that. We rely on people wanting to blast through that. Never mind about junior doctors. What about nurses? But anyway, we're getting all bogged down in this, Ranjit.
No, but generally...
You're harshing my buzz, man.
The guy's an idiot. No, the
Let's
guy's
go
an
back.
idiot.
I don't think he's an idiot. I think it's probably worse than that. I mean, you could call all of them idiots, but it's worse than idiots. They're not idiots. They're I don't know. What's a nice way of saying evil? I'm not saying that he's evil, but I'm just saying that they know what they're doing. Thanks a lot, Ranjit. I much preferred to talking to you about chips. £53 for a bag of chips? You're joking. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
0345 6060 973. Aaron texts, the Tories are showing how inclusive they are by allowing literally everyone to have a go at being Chancellor. Faversham. Hello, James.
Oh, no, Mitcham.
Mitcham.
No, I can't call you back.
Oh.
It's too far. How are you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. Jeremy Hunt, is he going to be given carte blanche just to do whatever he wants now and then just blame everything on the fact that he's picking up the pieces?
Picking up the pieces?
Are we at... Yeah.
Well?
Yeah.
Is that the end of your question? I always phone him
with bad news, don't I? Yeah, right. I always phone him with bad news.
I don't know. I've got no idea who you are. Who are you?
Hello?
Hello? Is this thing on?
What?
Is he going to be given carte blanche to do anything he wants?
Yeah.
I think for a while, probably. I mean, the Lisbot is going to be cowed, if not exited. That's not quite the right word, but she'll be shown at the exit, or she'll be cowed into silence, and she'll just be the happy, smiling face of the Conservative Party, while all the machinations will be furiously engaged in behind her back. I don't know, but it won't make no never mind, because things are about to get worse, because What's-It is talking about more austerity. More austerity.
What?
Who voted for that?
Well, didn't get enough last time, did we?
Apparently not. Apparently not. Yeah.
Yeah, and what was he then? Was he health secretary? I can't remember.
Yeah, he used to be in charge of the NHS, and the NHS hated him.
Yeah.
With good reason.
Quick question. Now, I don't normally phone in because I normally listen on catch-up, but are we able to contact you via Alexa as well as text messages and stuff? Because I know Chris Moyles does it, and then I heard Ian Dale talking about it the other day. But have you got that technology yet on your show?
How does that work?
I don't know. You just say, Alexa, send comment to LBC or something like that.
Really? What?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like magic.
The only thing I'm worried about is that it's going to give you more text to read out, and no one phones in.
Yeah, too many texts and tweets and emails. Yeah, I have no idea. I did not know that such a thing even existed. That sounds like the future.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? So I normally phone in only a couple of times a year and at Christmas. For your A to Z,
too early.
Don't tell anyone about this. But I've got a couple of Ks.
Ks? Excellent news. All right. Well,
keep it on the download.
If I'm on, which has not been confirmed yet, then I will receive that with great delight, because K is normally a difficult letter. Thanks a lot, James. Appreciate it. 0345 6060 973. Cliff says, Tories skewered by capitalism. It's beautiful, man, says Cliff. A hippie.
Groovy.
And Bruce says, only 3 chancellors till Christmas. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
But I'll let that one pass. Only 3 chancellors till Jesus' birthday. These are texts and tweets and such from last night. Jamie tweets, this is like Rod Hull sacking Emu. And Alex says, I think Swizzy Lizzie is an inspiration to the people of this country. She has proven that if you act like a defective robot with the emotional intelligence of a dead hamster, you too can become Prime Minister. Well, that's just rude.
Absolutely.
A little bit rude. And Stephen says, has Liz Truss written her problem to Nick and Carol?
No.
Not so far. But that's what we do for a living. We help, well, not for a living exactly, but for a small remuneration. Very small. We help people with their problems. That's what Carol and me do.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's Carol McGiffin and Nick Abbott. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? It's a podcast. It lasts an hour and it comes out on Monday. And I think it will make you laugh. In fact, I would almost guarantee it, except that, my guarantee would be worthless. If you have an hour and you wish to be amused, then I think it'll be right up your alley. What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol is available on an internet near you. It's on Global Player. You can get it here, there and everywhere, baby. All you have to do is ask for it by name. What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? Now, because it comes out on Monday every week, and there's over 130 up there on the internet to select from, then we do require problems to solve. Send yours to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, nickandcarol @global.com, and prepare yourself to be totally satisfied.
Oh, right, yeah.
What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Sook in Copenhagen. Yes, Sook.
How are you?
I am great, mate.
And, I felt compelled to actually call back in again because my name is actually pronounced Sook rather than Sook.
I don't think so.
Because I know that you had actually left me with whether that's your real name or not. So I thought I'd call back and correct.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Sook. That's what it is.
Nick, I wanted to ask you, I've always been, I'm a shy guy, but I wanted to ask, why is Sunday so sterile? Why does it have to be so boring?
Sunday?
Yes, your program on Sunday. Why have you been banned from using your soundboard? I'd like to know what the contractual obligations are, if I may.
Well, you may not. But I'll answer anyway. The idea is on Sunday, it's a normal format show. It's the kind of show that you would expect if you tuned into LBC. The thinking is on the weekend, people can relax a bit. You can unloosen your tie. In fact, some people might actually like to undo the top button of their shirt.
Disgusting.
Some people like that. And so, we can be amused. We're still talking about the news, but we can be quietly amused by it. But Sunday night leads into Monday morning. And so people listen to the radio on Sunday night, and then they turn it back on again, and we have Nick Ferrari in the morning. And so that show has to sort of reflect where the rest of the station is going. And that's why Sunday is a different show to Friday and Saturday. And I hope that you are completely satisfied with that explanation. And if you're not, then it's just not really that bothered. Not really that bothered, Sook. 0345 6060 973. Apparently, the message from next door is we can accept messages through... Now, you can't say the word out loud because a million machines will just burst into action. Alexa. Alexa. And how does that work then?
They just say it to Alexa and it should come through.
How?
They say, hello, can you send a message to Nick Abbott, I think.
And that's it.
That is it.
And Alexa knows what to do.
Apparently so, because we're getting them coming in.
How does that work?
You might have to ask Alexa, I'm not too sure.
No, I'm asking you.
I'd love to be able to tell. I thought I was being clear.
He has been very clear and robust.
Absolutely.
Very clear and robust about that point. And decisive, if you don't mind me saying so. So we can accept messages through Alexa. Alexa. I don't know how that works. It's probably got something to do with science. I expect it's a scientific thing. Get that blonde, bald that bald bloke on a yacht to call in and splain it to us straight away. You know, the guy that looks like he spends way too much time at the gym on his arms. That bloke. A little bit too much concentration on the arms there, Mr. Watson. I'm going to pick a fight with billionaires. 0345 6060 973. Martin tweets, Bojo is hiding in Iceland. Not the country, the shop. That's where all the freezers are.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Okie dokie.
Steve texts, is it just me or does Liz Truss walk like a Jerry Anderson puppet? Steve, it is just you, and Liz Truss walks like a Jerry Anderson puppet. She walks like a Jerry Anderson puppet that's holding a drinks tray. Sue texts, will Crazy Kwarteng go straight to the Lords in Truss's resignation list or work for Facebook? You know what? He probably is going straight to the Lords, isn't he? Oh. Maybe you go to Facebook and get lost in the metaverse. James says it's very distressing now. I want the UK to have a statesman as a PM. We've lost statesmanship. How on earth can Liz Truss talk face-to-face with Putin? He says. Well, how on earth could Liz Truss talk face-to-face with a postman? What about Putin? He says, just don't believe in the UK government anymore and we're seen as a joke by the world. Yeah, one of those unfunny jokes. Alexa, send a message to Nick Abbott. Remind him to put sticky fingerprints on Steve Allen's Bentley. Here's Dorking. Hello, Catherine.
Hello?
Catherine.
Hello.
Catherine.
Yes, hello.
Catherine.
Hello.
Yes, Catherine.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say about Therese Coffey and this madness of giving out antibiotics like sweeties.
Yeah.
It is completely illegal. There is a medical body under the NHS, the MLRA, and they say, can I just quote it to you?
Who are they again? The mRNA?
Just hang a tick, sorry.
It's a live show. Take all the time you need. I'm hanging on a tick.
Yeah, sorry.
Time's up.
Yeah, it's the MHRA. And they say not many people realise that sharing medication is both dangerous and illegal, even between family members. According to the MHRA, anybody who supplies prescription drugs to someone who is not intended for is breaking the law.
Right, but what about don't bogart don't bogart those pills? Did they think of that?
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
No, I have no idea what I mean either. It's a mystery.
But, you know, joking apart, it's very... My husband, sadly, used to have antibiotics for his chest. And I remember them saying on the pack that you must never share prescribed medicines.
Plus,
so for this...
you must always complete the course.
Yeah, absolutely.
You won't
so
have any left over to dole out to your mates.
But for this woman to stockpile and to, you know, even if it hasn't gone through, some poor person listening to her might think, oh, well, I've got a bad chest as well. I'll borrow some from my husband. Yeah. It's very, very dangerous.
I mean, she is the health secretary after all.
I know. And, well, also the people who advise her are completely nutty as well.
Well, who knows whether she's listening to any advice?
Yeah. I mean, I was really astounded by this.
Yeah,
I
couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. Anyhow, I'll let you get on.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Catherine. Very polite.
Thank you.
Always maintain politeness.
Be polite.
Or he'll kill you. Can you believe it? Dr. Coffin says that she's handing out antibiotics to, anybody that happens to pass by her front door. Or words to that effect. And not a friend to nurses. Not really. Therese Coffin doubled down on her previous comments, rejecting any notion of an increased pay offer for nurses. The actual bloomin' health secretary, if you can believe that, said that nursing staff can leave if they want to over poor pay and conditions. How many nurses are we short of? Something like 40,000, right? And she's saying, oh, well, you know, if you don't like it, you can leave. She's the actual bloomin' health secretary. I mean, at this point, you have to think, are they actually trying to kill us all? I mean, all joking aside, the actual health secretary, Therese Coffin, doubled down on her previous comments, rejecting any notion of an increased pay offer for the NHS workers in England. This, by the way, in sharp contrast with Scotland's health minister, who said that he would do everything in his power to prevent industrial action by nurses. Nursing staff in England currently voting on strike action in what could be the first countrywide nurses' strike in history, as in ever. In the interview, Dr. Coffin, the health secretary, told reporters that the government had already helped in a number of different ways. Wow. Including the energy price cap. That's them helping us. That's not helping us. That's helping the energy companies, because that's the government guaranteeing that the energy companies will get paid regardless of what they charge us. It's not for us, it's for them. We are borrowing the money and paying the interest on the money so that the energy companies can get paid regardless of what they decide the bill is. And we'll have to pay them back for the rest of our lives. The rest of our lives. And she's a doctor, by the way. I mean, I mentioned this before. Dr. Coffin. Not a medical doctor, though. Which is something of a relief. I mean, can you imagine her bedside manner? Put that cigar out, doctor. There's oxygen tanks in here. You'll blow us all up. And on the subject of raising nurses' pay to a level where they don't have to go to food banks in their own blooming hospitals, Dr. Coffin said, I feel we have acted and NHS staff have already been offered an annual pay rise of £1,400, we have accepted the recommendation of the pay review body. You know, like it's got nothing to do with her. 47,000 unfilled NHS nursing positions in this country, in England. 47,000. And she's saying, if you don't like this pay decrease, which is what it is, given the rate of inflation, then you can leave if you want to, she says, holding the door open for them. Speaking about nurses leaving for better conditions abroad, Dr. Coffin said it's their choice if they want to do that, but we also have an open route for people to come into this country who are professional staff.
What?
Yes. British nurses can leave if they don't like it because we can get other nurses from poorer countries to come here. A small problem with that, well, one of many problems, is that the people in poorer countries also need nurses because they're people too. General Secretary and Chief Executive Pat Cullen said, the Royal College of Nursing, said, this is an astonishing admission from the Health Secretary. She's already decided that she won't be listening to our 500,000 members. And this is from nursingnotes.co.uk, a publication all about and for nurses. And the Royal College of Nursing already accused Dr. Coffin of having her head firmly in the sand. You know, that sand that they use to put out cigarette butts outside buildings. They did a poll. Last time I looked, there were 4,341 votes on this poll. Question, are you looking to leave the profession? The nursing profession, are you looking to leave? Yes, I am looking to leave, said 92%. 92% of the 4,341 nurses that expressed a preference said they're looking to leave the profession. At a point at which we have 47,000 unfilled NHS nursing vacancies in England. The Health Secretary said that if the nursing staff don't like the pay cut that they've just been awarded, They can leave if they want to because we can get nurses from other countries. Oh my God, is this real life or am I hallucinating? I need antibiotics, doctor. I mean, sometimes I'm just, it's just virtually speechless. What is going on in this country? That should be a topic from now until the end of time. Does anybody have any idea? This says Terry knows how Alexa works in Tyne and Weir. Who's Terry? Oh, you mean she's on the board? Okay, well that'll be something coming up in the next hour. I'm teasing ahead. I have a caller coming up who knows how Alexa, Alexa, works in Tyne and Weir. So that information coming shortly to a location near you. Exciting, no?
No.
Doorpack, dark paw tweets. I'm giving Liz 1 out of 10 on Trustpilot. 1 out of 10. Not completely satisfied. Mandy texts, Graham Brady is the puppet master, Jez Hunt is his able assistant, and Liz, well, she's just dangling from the strings. Knowing that very soon they will be getting the scissors out. A very British horror story. Yeah. Who the hell's Graham Brady, and why did we decide that he could run things? Oh, no, that's right, we didn't. And it'll all get decided in a wood-panelled room, out of sight of the rest of us poor dopes that pay taxes, and they'll roll up their trouser legs and have funny handshakes, and I've got absolutely no idea what goes on in there. They'll bang their table and introduce us another horror show, which we'll have to live with until we're allowed out to the polling station again, assuming that ever happens. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nica@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
It's a radio show, dear. Gaz tweets, nothing can happen tonight that can remove my happiness of that the libertarian economical ideology is a failure, which it always has been and always will be, the dustbin of history pending, so say we all. Wow, that was a bit convoluted. And, maybe you should have read it before you tweeted it, Gaz, but I completely agree in every way, shape and form, apart from the dustbin of history part, because those people aren't going to give up the dream. They just aren't. They've spent way too much money and have waited way too long to give it up at the first hurdle. The dream is, if I put it in a nutshell, is imagine if you were a trillionaire and you were sitting in a cafe watching the lumpen proles waddling by, dragging their knuckles on the floor and breathing through their mouths. And you think, why should I, a trillionaire, pay for the upkeep of this disastrous mess parading in front of me? And so they would prefer to withhold their taxation so as not to encourage the lumpen proles to procreate.
Disgusting.
Exactly. By which method they will have fewer children, and then in a short time there will be many more trillionaires and much fewer of the lumpen proletariat. I think that's about it in a nutshell. Or put it more simply, they want the 1% want the 99% as their slaves. I think that's about it. I mean, it all boils down to just about that. I mean, they dress it up with all sorts of highfalutin words and phrases, but it's about it. The 1% want the 99%, and it's not even the 1%, it's the 0.001%. They want all of the rest of us to be peddling so furiously to pay the bills that we can't afford that we don't actually notice what the hell is going on around here. I think that's about it. That's what libertarianism is essentially, unless you know otherwise, in which case you must correct me. 0345 6060 973. Okay, here is that call that I was advertising earlier on. Apparently, this is a person with inside information. Hello, Terry.
Hi.
Terry.
I sent you a message via Alexa last night.
Oh, yeah.
And what you see is Alexa, send a comment to LBC. She asks what your comment is.
Yeah.
You see what you have to say, and then she'll say, what's your name and where you're from? You say, my name is Terry, I'm from North Shields. And she'll say, comment sent to LBC. Thank you for sending a comment to LBC.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's very nice of it.
And your glamorous assistant wasn't aware of this.
Well, I wasn't aware of it.
Well, everybody, you should have had a memo. I mean, because Ian Dale's been asking for people to send things by Alexa.
Has he?
For a couple of weeks now, yes.
Well,
when he does cross questions.
Right, Ian Dale has that kind of... he is a more highfalutin presenter than me. I am way down at the bottom of the pile, and Ian Dale is right up where the sun shines.
Well, my message to you is probably right down at the bottom of the pile because you don't know what you're looking for.
No, I don't. That is true. I have got no idea what I am doing. That is correct.
Well, there's a little bit of side of information for you.
Right. Okay, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Terry. 0345 6060 973. Alexa, what's going on? I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you with that. Idiot. Birmingham. James.
Hello, Nick.
James.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I just wanted to ask you if you've heard or seen the article in the Telegraph saying that Project Fear was right all along.
Yes. Jeremy
Warner.
Jeremy Warner. Yes. Oh my God.
I can spell that if you like.
The actual Telegraph. Yes. I've got it. I've got it in front of me.
Okay, and I just wanted to congratulate you, you especially, and James O'Brien on getting it in order.
Me and James O'Brien, yeah. But even though we did get it in order, we didn't get extra points.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
He gets extra points, but we didn't get extra points.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
He got it in order, and he got extra points, but we didn't get any extra points. But you know me, though. I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll get to this article in a minute. Is there anything further?
No, that's all.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Excellent work. There you are, you see. He knew he was done, and he left. Didn't hang about. He said, right, that's it. I'm leaving.
Bye-bye.
This is Jeremy Warner writing in that left-wing activist, militant lefty sheet, the Daily Telegraph. The revolution in the British economy promised by Leave campaigners 6 years ago finally seemed to go the way of all revolutionary movements this week. It ended up eating itself. Downbeat predictions by the Treasury and others on the economic consequences of leaving the EU, contemptuously dismissed at the time by Brexit campaigners as Project Fear, have been on a long fuse. But they have turned out to be overwhelmingly correct.
What?
This is the Telegraph, remember. And if anything, have underestimated both the calamitous loss of international standing and the scale of the damage that 6 years of policy confusion and ineptitude has imposed on the country. I think he's talking about you, Bodger.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
A serious house price correction, substantially higher interest rates, and a permanently impaired exchange rate may be the least of it. Credibility is all in politics, finance and economics. This week was the point at which the UK government finally managed to lose all last remaining vestiges of it. See, it's easy for him to write this, very, very hard for me to say it. He says this from a Tory government with a substantial overall majority. It's scarcely believable.
Correct.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that I'm reading the Daily Telegraph. He said, if it had been done differently, it might have succeeded, but it was not. We will be paying the consequences in reduced standing and prosperity for years, if not decades to come. How's Brexit going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, ain't it just? Of course, we could ask an expert.
Brexit's going great.
Brexit's going great. 0345 6060 973. Chris says, two weirdest things in the world today was Truss saying that Hunt shares her views. The other was the sacking of Kwarteng, who also shared her views. That's right. Yeah, how come she's still there? She was just telling Crazy what to do. I mean, a part of me feels a little bit sorry for her because we are talking about human beings here. She's not an actual robot.
Affirmative.
She is a person with feelings. And, she's been working her entire life to get to this top job. And it failed, or she failed, within seconds of taking over. The dream vanishing before her eyes. I feel a little bit sorry. But then I remember that that this is a party that is doing this to us, and that sympathy dissipates on the wind like a bad smell. Patricia emails, just thinking outside the box here, but what about when selecting future Prime Ministers and Chancellors? We asked Phil and Holly Willoughby to involve the nation each morning by phoning them as they spin the big competition glittery wheel of fortune. When it stops, they rip off the Velcro strip to reveal who our new esteemed leader is. Says Patricia, who watches way too much morning television. I've got no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I can picture it. That's good description there, Patricia. But it does occur to me that maybe you should be doing something else with your time in the morning. That's just a suggestion on my part. You don't have to follow it. 0345 6060 973. I mean, like looking out the window might be a good idea. Oh, I mean, look out the window now while outside is still there. Oxted, hello, Pat.
Hi.
Pat.
I've got a typical Saturday night query. Tell me, you know how they keep on about proportional representation?
Yeah.
Well, whether we have that or not, we still only got the Conservatives or the Labour to vote for. Well, the Conservatives have made a pig's ear of it, and I haven't a clue what the Labour represents. So who am I going to vote for?
How about the Greenies?
Groovy.
The Groovy Greenies.
Well, I could do for the Greenies,
Yeah.
but they're wasting time thinking about proportional representation. It won't make any difference, will it?
But it will. Of course
How?
it will. Well, it would prevent us being run as a dictatorship by a party that a minority of the people have voted for, which is what has happened pretty much every single government since, every single Tory government since the Second World War.
That count.
What?
I've still only got two parties that count.
No, but that's the point of proportional representation. If the Labour Party do not get over 50%, then they will be in a coalition with the Greenies and the Lib Dems and all of that
the
lot.
Labour Party, we can't vote Labour because I don't know what they represent.
Well, then vote Lib Dem.
Well, I don't know what to vote for them either. It's either the Conservatives or Labour.
Well, Pat, can I...
Representation won't make any difference, will it?
Well, Pat, of course it will, as I have just explained. Do you have the internet where you are?
No, I'm dim.
You haven't got the internet?
I must be dim.
Right.
But as far as me, little me, sitting here in Oxford,
how do people find out?
I wouldn't know whether to vote Labour. I wouldn't can't vote Conservative because they've made a pig's ear of it.
Lib Dem.
And I can't vote Labour.
Do you have
What's in it for you if I vote Liberal Dem?
Is there a Nazi party in Oxford?
I reckon there soon will be. I reckon there soon will be everywhere.
Well,
anyway,
at least
that's my point.
Okay, all right. Well made. Thanks a lot, Pat. At least you'd know where you are with the Nazi party. I mean, you know what they stand for. Be very clear about that. Of course, we need to be run as a coalition. This handing a dictatorship from one party to the next just doesn't work. Obviously, it doesn't work. Other better-run countries with happier people have coalition governments. It's not a chaos. That just stuck because it's alliterative. A coalition of chaos. Somebody came up with that cute phrase, and then it's just the one that just rattles around your brain every time you hear the word chaos. Coalition. I mean, could it possibly get any worse than what we got now?
No.
I rest my face. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. If you, what was I going to say? I just started that sentence without knowing where it was going. There seems to be something wrong with me. I need antibiotics.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
0345 6060 973. There was a gap there. You could have driven a bus through. That's because I was looking up information relating to this text by Bob, which says, correct me if I'm wrong, but while being interviewed, wasn't it Jeremy Hunt who forgot that his wife was Chinese and said that he thought she was Japanese? And I didn't remember that, so I had to look it up. And here is the straight dope. Foreign Secretary, because he was at the time, if you can believe that, 2018. Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt mistakenly referred to his wife as Japanese during a visit to Beijing to discuss post-Brexit trade deals between the UK and China. His wife is actually Chinese. That's the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life. Turning Japanese, I think she's turning Japanese, I really think so. No.
Rock and roll!
Scott emails, with you banging on about Liz Truss being like a robot after watching Star Wars, I couldn't get C-3PO out of my mind, being akin to Jacob Rees-Mogg.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Why doesn't anyone listen to me? Also, Jabba the Hutt is the current health secretary. Well, that's just rude. Oh. Tim text, now that Liz Truss has kicked that, it was almost like Jabba the Hutt was in the room with us for a moment there, wasn't it?
No.
Now that Liz Truss has kicked Quasimodo out of the number 11, do you think that Tory MPs will now get behind the PM and push her under a bus, says Tim? Yeah, one of those buses that Bodger makes out of beer crates. Ain't that right, Bodge?
Booze.
Exactly. Anybody ever seen one of those buses? No, I don't think so. Only in his imagination do they exist. John, via Alexa says, how is Alexa doing on the grammar front? Actually, pretty good. Hey, you know what? Alexa can spell. It's a breakthrough. Shaftesbury. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, hi, Nick. I've got a few thoughts, but there was an advert about dogs, and it reminded me about something. You go out for a nice walk, and something sticks on the bottom of your foot, and you walk it around your house. So I think the government's a bit like that right now.
Paul, what you have to do is take your shoes off before entering your home.
That's what one of the MPs said. He said he had a problem with tweeting things. He kept misspelling things, like Anna turned out as bomb, and all sorts of weird things, like tosspot, and it was just spewing crap.
It's very difficult to understand what you're saying, Paul. You appear to be talking to us from a well.
Oh, hang on a minute. I'll just exit the well. Is that a little bit better for you, mate?
Speak more.
How's that?
034. I should always go with your instincts.
Warning, warning.
I failed to go with my instincts because I was trying to be kind.
Be polite.
Don't be polite. Just get rid of them straight away. Paul emails, Jacob Rees-Mogg declined to comment on BMW's announcement to move the electric Mini to China. China. Bang goes our ambitions to become a leader in global electric car manufacturing following Honda's decision to quit Britain. Not quit full stop, and then Britain for another sentence. To quit Britain not long after the decision to leave the European Union, according to the Times, growth spiralling downwards. Yes, it's all very, very bad news. And, if only somebody had said something sooner. BMW is to axe all UK production of the electric Mini and switch it to China.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. This has nothing to do with Brexit. It'll deal a major blow to hopes that Britain could be a global hub for zero-emission vehicle manufacture. But Bodger Johnson himself has said that we will be a leader in electric cars. It came from his own lips. If only they ran on hot air. BMW makes 40,000 electric Minis a year at his Cowley factory on the outskirts of Oxford. Production will end next year as part of plans to reshape the car maker's lineup from 2024. This has nothing to do with Brexit. It's another hit to the UK's pretensions to become a leader in global electric car manufacturing, according to the Times. This is following Honda's decision to quit Britain not long after the decision to leave the European Union in 2016. This has nothing to do with Brexit. OK, it has everything to do with Brexit. If a car company can't trade easily with the world's biggest free market for their cars, if they make them here, they're not going to make them here anymore. The Japanese car maker Honda decided to end plans to make electric cars for the European market at its factory in Swindon, wherever that is. It switched production back to Japan and shut the plant with a loss of more than 3,000 jobs. You know, if only someone had said something like that could happen before the referendum. In other global Britain news, Britain's only planned large-scale battery factory being built by British Volt in the northeast of England will go bust if it does not receive a £200 million rescue package. Only a year ago, Bodger Johnson himself, the Prime Minister at the time, promised to fund a £1 billion electric car revolution in the UK, creating hundreds of thousands of jobs. His predecessor, Theresa May, Mrs M, said that Britain would become a world leader in electric vehicle manufacturing. Crazy Kwarteng, who was Chancellor for one turn on the merry-go-round, said that the electrified automotive industry would be front and centre of Britain building back better. And the electric car industry heard all that and said, bye-bye. You know, I can't remember what Liz Truss has said about it. It doesn't really matter, because she's not going to be around long enough for us to be dismayed at what she's promised compared to what she's delivered. She's very clear about that.
I'm genuinely unclear.
A spokesman for the Business Secretary, Jacob Rees-Mogg, said, He declined to comment. Finally, we found something that shuts him up. But if he could be contacted, Jacob Smug would probably say that it's bias to say that it's anything to do with his own precious Brexit. And it could be a number of other reasons, like the car companies don't like the weather here, or it's the Ramona's fault for not believing enough, or it's Jeremy Corbyn's fault for being Jeremy Corbyn. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. See what you've done? Boo! And it gets worse. Because in addition to the currently Oxford-built electric Mini switching to China, BMW will also produce the next generation zero-emission Mini Aceman, and a new electric version of the largest Mini model, the Countryman, will be manufactured at its plant in Leipzig, if you please. Are we getting tired of all this winning yet?
No.
How's Brexit going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
And underneath this story, there were some comments from actual real-life business persons. And one said, being in the EU allowed my company to trade freely without excessive bureaucracy in a market of 450 million people. Now, not so easy, which is why 1/3 of UK's small and medium enterprises have ceased exporting. 1/3. Another said, I moved my company to the continent after 2016. There was no way I was going to let my company be locked out of the world's greatest trading bloc on our doorstep due to the disaster that is Brexit. Unfettered tariff-free access and cheap transportation are the member benefits of the single market. There are no Brexit opportunities. Another lie being pushed by the disingenuous Tory politicians and ERG fanatics. I think he's talking about you, Smug.
I don't know anything.
Without the single market, this country is like a frog being slowly boiled alive. It's a matter of time before the UK feels the full economic impact. Pre-common market, we were the sick man of Europe. The British economy doubled in size due to our membership of the world's greatest trading bloc. Brexit-supporting cultists can feel free to look for exciting new opportunities in the likes of Somalia and Peru. I wish them well. On another one said, Snap, despite having the bulk of our staff in the UK, although that is slowly changing and we are a medium-sized, not a large business, we're now headquartered in Europe. The ongoing uncertainty over data processing and our reliance of European customers showed it was the correct decision. We don't even have a minister for Brexit opportunities anymore because we used to have an entire 7-foot beanpole peering over his monocle trying to find any. And he couldn't. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I mean, what on earth is going on here? Genuine question. I'd love to know. Can anybody explain it to me? Because my mind is all of a muddle. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
I am genuinely mystified. Billsy texts, do you think Liz Truss will cross the floor and join the monster raving loony party? I don't think they'd have her. A little bit too out there for them. Hagar says, the prodigy of Maggie the Iron Lady is Dizzy the Ironing Lady, who set up a laundry, which explains why the country is being taken to the cleaners. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
And Steve says, Jeremy Hunt on his media round sounds like a calming doctor telling you that you won't necessarily be dead by the end of the month, but it's best to assume that you will be. I feel safer already, says Steve. Hey, Steve, get your affairs in order. And finally, for the moment, Brian says, where is our democracy? Useless Truss was voted to lead the country by about 80,000 Mail and Telegraph readers. Surprise, surprise, she's a disaster. And then they effectively put Hunt in charge. That is the same Jeremy Hunt who got dumped in the early rounds of the Tory leadership contest. Unbelievable, says Brian. Yeah, it is unbelievable. This is The Guardian. Senior Conservatives will this week hold talks on a rescue mission that would see the swift removal of the Lizbot as leader. It's not a rescue mission for the country, though. Don't get carried away. They're rescuing themselves. This is after the new Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, dramatically tore up her economic package, threw it to the floor and ground it into the dust. And signalled a new era of austerity.
What?
Yeah. That's nice. A new era of austerity. Why? Because the last one worked out so well? Just a small point. I mean, it's nothing really. I hardly feel it's worth mentioning, but we didn't vote for this. Even the people who voted for Bodger Johnson last time around didn't vote for austerity. I mean, seriously, who do these people think they are? They haven't been through a coronation. They didn't have to worry about whether their crown went with their sashes. And no one sings God Save any of them. And yet they just sail on. changing the captain as though their tribe is born to rule. And who is Jeremy Bloomin' Hunt when he's at home? Well, his actual name is Jeremy Richard Stransham Hunt. Not making it up. He's the eldest son, according to Wikipedia, of Admiral Sir Nicholas Hunt. And his wife, Lady Hunt. Daughter of Major General Cook Given, if you please. The Hunt family were landed gentry. Of course they were. A descendant of Sir Stransham Master, a pioneer of the East India Company. Also a distant relation of Elizabeth II and Sir Oswald Mosley. What? And Jeremy Hunt was educated at Charterhouse. Of course he was. He was head of school there. Of course he was. And then he read philosophy, politics and economics at Magdalen College of Oxford. Didn't they all? Cameron and Boris Johnson were his contemporaries, for crying out loud. It's like a twisted little club of entitled upper-class twits. It's like we're stuck in that Monty Python sketch and we can't get out. And here's how the fan sheet, The Sun, announced Bodger Johnson's manifesto the last time we were allowed anywhere near a voting booth. Quotes, Boris Johnson has today revealed the Conservatives' election manifesto, hailing new promises to end austerity. Well, how did that work out?
Fabulous.
And now the Tories think that they can just reverse everything that people that voted Tory wanted and carry on as though nothing has happened, changing their leader depending on the direction of the wind. And a group of senior MPs are going to meet on Monday, this coming Monday, to discuss the Prime Minister's future, some wanting her to resign within days, others saying that she's now in office but not in control. Some are threatening to publicly call on Truss to stand down after the implosion of her tax-cutting programme. Well, here's a radical notion. Why don't you let us dopes who pay taxes decide on that note? In a rearguard action to prop up the Prime Minister, her cabinet allies warned that MPs that they would precipitate an election. I've screwed that up. In a rearguard action to prop up the Prime Minister, her cabinet allies warned MPs that they would precipitate an election to ensure the Tories were a finished party if they toppled Liz Truss in just a matter of a second leader in a matter of a few months. I screwed that up a bit, but do you get this, the essence of what it is that they are threatening? Do as we say, or we'll kill ourselves. These people shouldn't be in charge of running a bath. Never mind about a country.